Howdy YouTubers, today I'm just going to provide a quick update on the DSTE MB-D15 grip that I got maybe about 2 years back now. Thanks to you guys, you've made it the most popular video I've ever produced. No doubt in no small part to the cost of it for people who just don't want to shell out the full price. However though, unfortunately I have bad news to report. The grip has suffered damage on the screw points that hold this shell to the grip itself. So this is basically the cover that goes over the grip that goes into the D7100, D7200. Now the problem is that you're going to see these pieces here. So I'm just going to get a close-up of that. As you can see, there's 3 plastic pieces here. This is actually what holds the screw that the screw drills into, and those fell off of the 2 main weak points. Sorry, I do have the original Nikon MB-D16 grip here because I'm going to get into this in a minute, but those pieces fell off of the base of these screws. The first one right there on the right and this one to the left. And as you can see, those 2 screws are predominantly what is near this connector. Now the reason for that is, taking this apart, I'll get you a close-up of this. You're going to see right there, that plastic mount has broken off. And likewise for that one right there. That plastic mount has broken off as well. Now when I did the semi-teardown in the original review, I had placed a lot of emphasis on this particular piece because a lot of people have reported that that's generally the weak point. Some people have highlighted that, oh, okay, on like say other brands, this metal plate was not even being held down by metal screws, but rather just melted plastic, and thus when this lifts off, it causes the gears within here to also not align, so that way when you twist this, it no longer twisted that and you couldn't get the grip off the body. However though, with the DSTE, the other weak point here is simply right here. The connector that attaches into the camera itself, this is not held down by anything. It's held down by these 2 weakish plastic prongs here, as you can see, the one right there, one right there. It doesn't meaningfully help hold this down. So because of that, when you're removing this from the camera, this actually fits pretty snug into the connector. So all that force is pulling on the 2 nearest screws, which is again, namely that one right there and this one right here. Thus, those 2 snapped off. Unfortunately, without that in there, it creates a problem because every time you remove this, it's only going to place stress on the rest of these screws and eventually you're just going to rip this whole thing off. So sadly, this is unfortunately not working anymore. Just wanted to highlight that's a weak point of this particular aftermarket grip. Now, DSTE, I haven't really been able to get a hold of them, but I will supply this feedback to them. I guess I'll probably get some kind of plastic weld and put a bubble here and then drill a hole to tap into it, so that way we'll have a new plastic screw mount to mount the screw back into, but I'll report back in the future if I'm successful in getting that done. Now, on the Nikon grip, although this is a MB-D16, the main thing though is that you're going to see that the connector that mounts into the camera is held down by metal. It's got a metal plate here held down by screws into a pretty beefy post down at the bottom. So thus, any pressure when you pull it out, it's not forcing it up onto the cover itself and generating upward force there, but rather this connector is being held down and the force is here, here, and there. So therein lies the main difference. Now, again, I don't know if this particular thing was a design change from the MB-D15 to the MB-D16, but I can't imagine that the MB-D15 for Nikon would be too different though. If anybody happens to have an original Nikon MB-D15 and has taken the top part off before, feel free to throw in a comment and let me know if that really is a metal plate there. Well, again, that location wouldn't be there, but rather it'll be here somewhere. So, my thoughts on this. Yeah. Like they say, you get what you pay for, right? But still, I got roughly 2 years of use out of it, although not me personally, because since I sold this to my brother-in-law, I borrowed it back from him because I was in the process of doing a bunch of other grip reviews. Bottom line is that this was what, roughly $50 at the time. I would still have to go through 4 more of these before I come out to the full price of a grip. Now again, like I've always said, it's about risk management. If you're in a profession where you just can't take that kind of risk, by all means, get the original. But if you have some flexibility and you can afford to fiddle around with this like I'm doing right now, hey, I still think you come out ahead because like I said, for the price that I save from purchasing an aftermarket grip, I can buy a square trait warranty on my camera. So I'll protect the camera in case anything goes wrong. Yes, the grip will be ruined, but at least I have that kind of extra protection that Nikon won't even give you. So again, for people who make an argument, hey, you paid $2,000 for a camera, why are you skimping out on the grip? Well, again, like I said, if you don't need to spend that kind of money, why would you want to? I mean, that kind of logic is almost like this. How valuable is your body? It's not an apples to apples argument, but just think of it for a second. How valuable is your body and taking good care of it? Now, let me ask you this. Do you always take good care of it? Do you always feed yourself the best food? Have you ever eaten fast food in your life? If you can honestly say, yeah, I take perfect care, well, great for you then. It's a mood argument that I'm making. But if you've ever eaten fast food or indulged in, some guilty food, or if you've eaten processed food, right there, already you've brought damage to your body. So that argument could be made the same way. How valuable is your body, and why in the world would you feed it junk? So not a perfect analogy, but you kind of get my point. It's just that we pick and choose our battles, right? If I could feel like I could save on some of this $200, hey, that's a flash right there. Or like I said, that's the price of the warranty for the camera itself. Anyway, that wraps up this video. I just want to provide an update. Like I said, my main goal to you guys is always to provide the most fair and objective views about any of the products that I review, regardless of whether or not they are sponsored. As previously disclosed, the MB-D15 was purchased for my personal use. Thanks again for watching.